Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today, I'm going to tell you why the Pro Kennex with the Kinetic technology is the best rackets for your arm. Why are they arm friendly? What is the source behind their technology? Let me give you a little backstory on Pro Kennex Kinetic. About 25 years ago, I went to a meeting in which they introduced this technology. And we all sat in a room. They told us exactly what the technology was, showed us the video. A bunch of engineers developed this racket and technology to basically lessen the vibration. Every time you hit a racket that's stiff, right, you feel a vibration, because that's just how it works. That's how a tennis racket works, right? That's why all these companies try to do something in the handle or in the shoulders of the racket to try to lessen that. That's why we use vibration dampeners. I personally like feel, so I like all that vibration coming through to my hands, because I mean, it's feel to me. It kind of tells me where I'm hitting in the sweet spot. But I know a lot of you don't like that, and that's why you use dampeners and various rackets that dampen that vibration. The first racket that they ever made was called a Pro Kennex Kinetic 10G. Now, why did they call it 10G? Well, that's 10 grams of kinetic mass that they added into the racket. Let's say this was the original 10G. The concept was there was 100 chambers around this racket, half filled with kinetic mass. Now, kinetic mass, as they say, was lead granules. Sandy lead granules was in 100 chambers, half filled within the racket. When you shook it, right? When you shook it, you could hear it. It's like a little samba, right? Shake, shake, shake. Shake, 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 right? Shake your racket. You hear that? Shake your racket. Like that. So that's what it is today too. Now, the concept behind it is when you, because they're half filled, when you bring your racket back, they all kind of get loaded into the rear of the chamber. And when you come forward at impact, they all explode forward. Basically, at impact, those things explode towards the ball, making it a wider extended sweet spot. We're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's revolutionary. When we went out to play with it, the technology works. That was 25 years ago. I don't know what happened with the company going bankrupt, but the technology sold very well. So here, I'll show you what they were talking about, because I don't have that video. So here's a regular tennis ball. Let's say this is a chamber, and I'm gonna bounce it without any kinetic mass inside. Energy that kind of keeps going. So that's vibration every time it bounces. So this is a tennis ball that I cut open, and I filled it half with pennies. Right? So let's say that's the lead granules. Right? I'm going to drop it. Two bounces. So what did that do? Impact, all the pennies hit the ground, and then the pennies shot back up and then hit the ground again. With that second impact, it killed the vibration. It killed the energy. This so kills the vibration. So the concept was when let's say that's the racket now, and this is the ball, right? So when it strikes, all that energy goes into the ball to take off. Then what the lead granules do, kinetic mass, is that it does that. Won't shake too many times before the vibration is killed. So the kinetic mass is taking the vibration away from the racket, away from your arm. Speaking of dampening in the handle, a lot of companies like Yonex, all of their rackets or most of their rackets will have a dampening system in their handles. Well, Kennex did that 25 years ago, and it continues today. So what they did was there is one chamber in here, just like around in the racket. You can shake it. I'll shake it for you. That one doesn't have a lot. Maybe this one. I don't know, do you hear that? I'm putting it up against the mic. But there's one chamber in this handle, half filled with kinetic mass, the lead granules, just like in the head. So the concept behind that is when those lead granules explode forward into the ball and dampen in the hoop, the same thing happens in the butt cap or in the handle. On impact, those kinetic mass lead granules will be shaking in there to take the vibration away from your hand too. The whole racket with the kinetic system is a dampening system. Fast forward to today, the first racket that I want to talk about is the Q. Here's the other thing about it is it's very confusing on these rackets. They were numbered back in the day for a reason. So it was called Kinetic 5G, Kinetic 7G, Kinetic 10G, right? So that's how many grams of kinetic mass was in the racket. Now they have 5, 1, 1, 15. My guess is that's how many grams of kinetic mass are in these. So we're gonna start with the ones that people are gonna play with the most. You know, the most common rackets that they'll sell the most of, and that's this one right here. We'll start here, okay? That is called the Kinetic 01. They're trying to make it look like a race car, is my guess. As you can see, they put that kinetic symbol in there, so it's arm friendly, okay? You can hear the kinetic mass in there. Can you hear it? Oh, I'll put it towards me. You hear it on the mic, right? Okay. Instead of putting 100 chambers now, they're in strategic places. I'm guessing that's why they call it the Q, right? So quad, 4 places where they strategically place the kinetic mass. My guess is 10 and 2, 4 and 8, because that makes the most sense. Because when you bring a racket forward and you impact it, you need the bracing on those 4 corners. Hence the name, quad. With this stick, it's a thinner beam, 19.5, 10.6 ounces unstrung. Okay, so strung weight about 315, balance 325, swing weight 323. Okay, good player stick for that intermediate, low advance who wants a lighter stick. Definitely arm friendly, but on the lighter side. They make 2 heavier versions of this. The first being the one that's 315 without strings. So this thing's gonna clock in at 332. I'll show you the board. 325 balance, 321 on the swing weight, 19.5 on the beam, 63 on the flex. So it's 63, 64, depending on where you're looking, but it's definitely a softer racket because of that beam. If you want a slightly heavier one, go with the one I just showed you. It's called the Tour Pro right there. There's actually a heavier one than that one at 325 without strings. That would be my go-to. Characteristics are very similar, still a 19.5, heavy, but very stable. Those rackets play surprisingly very well. Pro Kennex is kind of one of those underappreciated, underknown brands out there. They are pretty well known for being arm friendly, but not too many players play with those rackets. The next one, and probably the one that is going to fit most people out there, especially the club player, recreational player, is that 5G. I call it the 5G, but it's Q plus 5. They haven't really changed this mold in probably, 15 years. This has been, one of their top selling rackets. So 5 grams of kinetic mass, you can hear it, right, on a 16x20 string pattern. Now let's look at the characteristics. So the weight 306 is going to basically match anybody. I mean, it's totally easy on the arm, fast racket, balance at 335, right? All these with a 21.5 beam, 67, very comfortable, right? If you play with a pure drive, if you play with kind of a, what else is out there, like a Clash Ultra, like these will all be similar to that 5. All right, if you play with those rackets, you got arm problems, give that one a shot. Now, the Q plus 15. Now this racket is definitely, if you have some major arm issues and you want to avoid, hurting it more, try this one. This one definitely packs a bigger punch because there is 15 grams of kinetic mass in here, right? It's a ½ inch longer at 105 square inches, okay? So it's got more power, as you see with the 71. The beam is a 26, right? Look at that versus these. More power. Swing weight it's going to have more head weight, 322. Balance is definitely going to be head heavier. The weight is lighter, okay? So as I always say, the lighter the racket, the more weight in the head. They do that on purpose so your arm doesn't hurt, right? But it's packing 15 grams of kinetic mass. Can you hear that? Okay. So your arm hurt, you need a little more power, getting a little older, maybe you're that club player, playing a lot of doubles, this is your racket right here, all right? But if you suffer from any arm problems, right, like major arm problems that keeps you off the court, definitely try Kennex rackets. Make sure it says Kinetic on them, or the Q, as they say on them. Q, like the Q series. But as long as it says Kinetic, it's going to have those lead granules or kinetic mass in the racket that takes away the vibration. All right, have you tried Kennex before? I hear a lot of great things about them. I've played with them in the past and they work. The technology works. All right, thanks for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.